Welcome to another week of the Conversations with Good Brothers talk show. Good brother, how are you?
I'm phenomenal, man.
Excellent.
How you doing, brother Shawn?
You know, I say it every week. I love taking your word, man. I'm feeling incredible, man. People love when I say that. They do.
How you not? That's good energy. That's good spirit. Right?
It is. Great spiritual energy, man.
I was talking to a brother today. This brother called me. I gave him a business card like 4 months ago at the gym.
Yeah.
So this brother called me today. Young brother. In fact, he was 28. Told me a little good for his age. But one thing I remember about this brother, every time I see him, he smiles. He's always smiling. And found the brothers from Florida. I was like, dude, you got a good spirit, man.
Right.
Yeah, he always smiles. I'm like, dude, you feed off that energy. So
right.
to your point when you're saying something like, I'm feeling great. So
right.
how could somebody be down? Or if they are down, they're gonna run the heck away from you. You know what I mean? Like exactly. I don't even want to be around that brother right there.
You always feeling great. How you feeling though, man?
I'm alright, man. Yeah, yesterday was it was a different day, man. I had actually not a bad day, but a different day. So I'll talk to you off record, but that was very interesting. But good topic that we having today, spirituality versus religion,
right.
Got me through it. You understand? So right. I had to tap into my spirituality. I had to talk to my God to really get through it. So that's interesting that we're talking about this today.
Did you tap into your spirituality, or did you tap into your religion, or both? You know what I'm saying? Since we doing spirituality versus religion, which one did you tap into? Even though you already told me, I still want you to answer it.
So you started that last week, man. I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for it. I mean, wow. I guess. Yeah, I would say both. You know what I mean? My spirit, I had to tap into my spirit because I was feeling some negative energy.
Okay.
So I had to tap into my spirit.
Right.
But every day I open up my Bible and read my word every morning. Right. So actually, yesterday, I'm reading Rick Warren's book, Purpose-Driven Life.
I love that book, man.
Yeah,
I love every page of that book.
Yeah,
oh
man. Yeah, I've been working it up like I'm in college, man. Highlighting and all that, but. Got through it, man. Yesterday is yesterday, today's day, so
right.
Got to make amends with yesterday and deal with today. But welcome everyone, man. We have a good show again. We're going to ask everyone to mute their lines. Of course, we're looking forward to a lot of questions today because we're dealing with a very interesting topic. And as we delve into that, please feel free to email us at DarnellRamsey@hotmail.com. Looking forward to as many questions as possible or many comments as possible. Again, we don't have all the right answers. You understand? This is not telling anybody wrong. We're two men giving you our perspective on a topic that we feel very deeply about. So, looking forward to this hour discussion. And hopefully you all would, and I'm pretty sure you should enjoy as much as we enjoy.
And I also want to add to that, just to say that I think whenever people hear about this topic, you get excited. You get your books ready. You got 10 books on both sides of you.
What?
Yeah, right.
What? Hold on. Yeah, so I know y'all got the King James version of it. About like four books out, but
right.
Work with us. Yeah.
And we're not claiming to be experts on either of the topics. We just simply good brothers talking about this, and bringing it to light. So we don't want to. We're definitely not going to bash anybody's religion, spirituality.
Yes.
But we do want to be authentic and talk about just be very genuine and open, and we hope everybody has enough emotional intelligence to just have a great atmosphere for the discussion.
I always like that when you use that emotional intelligence. Man. You know what I mean? Because our emotions sometimes get the best of us, especially when we're talking about this topic right here.
That's true.
You know what I mean? I done got in so many arguments talking about religion and spirituality. Like, how are we arguing?
Exactly.
So get in control of your emotional intelligence. I like that. I'm going to use that one. Control your emotional intelligence. And I'll talk about as we delve into this topic. When I tell people I only like arguing over sports. You know what I mean? So actually the young lady was arguing with me, but I was just like, wow. You know what I mean? Look what we're talking about. How is God a negative energy in the same sense?
Right.
In the same arena.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Especially when you so-called having a conversation between two good so-called Christian folk.
Yeah, exactly.
You understand? So, very interesting topic today.
To your point though, I remember I was watching Brother Ray Hagan. Ray Hagan is he used to be a Christian pastor. Now he's Dr. Ray Hagan. I don't want to disrespect his credentials. And he was saying he was talking to a pastor, and the pastor was getting like, they were debating, and then the pastor was getting angry with him, and he was saying like, even if you disagree with me,
yes,
look at how you representing your God.
Yes, powerful.
Look at how you represent.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like wow, like, and I think that's one of the reasons that it kind of makes some people, because if you're a representation of this and you're a representation of that, like wow, I don't really know. Even though I might like the beliefs over there, I don't like how you represent it.
And that's powerful. Because that was one of my points. But since you went there, a lot of times when you're talking to brothers in particular out in the community, that's one of the things they always bring up. You know what I mean? That's one of the 7 points I had.
Okay.
That they say, why go to church if I know this person to go and I look at how they carry themselves in the community. So therefore, why go if that is their perceptions? But to your point, we have to be very careful when we conduct it, when we say we belong to a certain religion,
right? And
we inherent ourselves in that fashion of which that religion really the foundation of religion portrays.
Exactly. That's an excellent point, man. I think about that all the time. Let's I think we should start with like maybe a little basic. Like, what do you think is the difference? Like, what's the difference between religion and spirituality, or are they the same? Like, what do you think?
I think everything is dependent on one's perspective, but I think they're intertwined. However, my point is I think they're different. Religion, of course, is your I guess the group that you belong to. Versus your spirituality is something that you develop one-on-one with your creator. Okay. You understand? And I remember, I always tell people about my path. And, I grew up in the church. I was the type of person where my mom made me go to church, Sunday school and church every Sunday. You know what I mean? Because my mom was saved, so I had to go there every Sunday. But after my mom gave me the choice, I guess around middle school, I stopped going. So I remember when I was down in, after I left college, I started going through this start tapping back into my spirituality.
Okay.
You understand? So and I was one of these guys, and if my Lincolnites is on the phone, I was one of these guys who rebelled against religion. Okay. You know what I mean? Because I was going through this so-called spiritual development.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
But back then, I would say they were two total different things. Because even though I wasn't going to the church, I was building my relationship with God. You know what I mean? So, when I think of spirituality, I'm thinking that that's something that you develop with your creator, you and your creator, and that's more of a one-on-one and an ongoing process versus religion is something that you practice by doing certain rituals and so forth.
I would agree with that. And I know we do a lot of agreeing, but I thoroughly agree with that. I thoroughly do agree with that, because I think that religion interprets. I think religion tries to interpret the spiritual aspect. I think spirituality precedes. Religion. You know what I mean? And even when you look up the word religion, it's kind of humanly. It says practices and beliefs agreed upon by persons and sects. You know what I mean? So this is, and that's one of the things if you ask somebody what a fact is, this is why we gotta differentiate between not only spirituality and religion, but also facts and the truth. Because a fact is just something that we all agree upon. 1 + 1 is 2.
That's a fact.
Because everybody say it's 2.
Right.
But if we all be like, you know what? We're gonna call it 2, 3, and 3, 2. Now 1 + 1 is 3.
That's our belief.
But that's a fact.
That's our fact.
Right. That's our fact. I always tell people, like, if you look up my college player profile in basketball, this is a document. It'll say Shawn-Coleman is 6'4", 240 pounds. I'm 6'2", 220. But if somebody 100 years later want to say, oh, how tall was Shawn? He was 6'4". Look, that's a fact. That's a fact. It's on a piece of paper.
I like it. Yeah. Google it.
Google me, baby.
So it must be true, right? If it's written down on a piece of paper.
And now you see the difference between the facts and truth. You know what I mean? That's powerful. So I think that kind of symbolizes one of the differences. Not to say that religion doesn't have truth. You know what I'm saying? But I think that one of the similarities I wanted to talk about was that, you know, when you look at the Quran, the Bible, the Torah, like, you know, me personally, you know, I can't limit myself to one religion. I love listening to T.D. Jakes. That's a powerful dude. I love, you know, I love listening to some of the things that Mr. Farrakhan say, and from other deities as well. Right. And I think that because I'm spiritual, but if I was religious, I might not be able to open myself to all these different deities.
Why are you starting, Shawn? Why are you starting, man? Why are you starting, man? Yeah, I mean, I thought we were saving this for a little bit later.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. But no, now that you delved into the subject, wow. I mean, I like the way you explain that, Black man.
Right.
I love the way you explain it.
Thank you.
And that's deep because now you threw it out on the table. A sister I used to do some contracting with a couple of years ago, came at me and we were talking about some things about both Christians. We were talking about how she believed how you get to heaven. So to your point, I got Muslim friends.
Right.
I got friends who practice Buddhism, and they all good dudes. We're good sisters. Right. So I was saying that I respectfully disagree with you, sis. I think we all will get to where we're getting to. And she went off on me. Wow. You understand? Like how dare you not necessarily justify somebody, but agree with somebody else's beliefs, and you claim to be a Christian. Right. It's like, you mean to tell me because I'm a Christian, and I was like, you mean that everybody else is going to hell?
Exactly.
Everybody else.
Everybody going to hell.
Everybody going to hell because they ain't practicing what we choose to practice. So you choose not to even, build with these people because they believe differently than you. And it got to the point, that's why I said this was when she was arguing. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm allowed to disagree because we're Christians don't mean that we got to agree. Right. It's just that I choose to build with anybody. Right. You know what I mean? Right. If a Muslim brother can give me some knowledge that's going to impact or empower my life, you got to be crazy if I'm going to disrespect that man or that sister, and then you helping me get to where I need to be. You mean now you're limiting yourself? There's 7 billion people in the world, man. Right. 7 billion people in the world. You mean to tell me that only a certain group of people can tell you some things?
Real. That's real.
That's scary.
That's real.
But that's sometimes now we talking about that. I think that as you to your point there, I think that's where when we become religious, we forget about spirit, spirituality, because now you're tapping into a man's spirit or a human spirit. So you never get, and that's unfortunately for our community, the African American community, we get so stuck up on that.
When you say that, what do you mean now?
That our differences are like we believe in different beliefs. We talk about, I listen to Farrakhan a lot, very thorough, incredible man.
Incredible man, so smart.
Yeah. And I'm Malcolm X is one of the greatest to me, one of the greatest men who ever have lived. One of the books that impacted my life the most. You understand? I'm not a Muslim, but Brother Farrakhan got an economic plan that he had put in place.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He was saying that, hey, African Americans follow this plan, then we can start to turn the economic misfortune of our people. Right. But because he doesn't practice what some other people practice, now we ain't gonna support him. Right. What about this man's spirit? Right. You understand? Like, you're supposed to be tapping into this man's spirit. Right. And if you listen to his spirit, or if you feel his spirit, he's trying to improve all people's lives, not just even Muslims' lives. That's true. Christian, Catholic, whatever it is, he's just saying, let's improve everybody's life. But because you're so far caught up on the religious side and forgetting about the spirituality side, you're missing the point.
That's powerful, man. And I gotta say that I totally agree with that, man, because just like I love and respect T.D. Jakes' teachings, I love and respect Minister Farrakhan's teachings. You know what I'm saying? But there's both but they both have things that I don't agree with.
Yes.
But we human.
Yes.
We their individual human spirits.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like we're not gonna always agree on everything. And then at the same time, you know, when you talk about how there's 7 billion people, man, and like there's not, I agree. I don't think that there's one way to get to heaven. But again, what is heaven? Because I think hell. You know, what I think hell is. I think hell is like, if you want to see what hell's like, just let some of your negative thoughts about yourself become your way of life. That's hell. If you want,
and we're seeing that. We're seeing hell right now.
Exactly.
You go through some of our neighborhoods, or go through, tour the world, tour other countries.
Right.
You'll see hell.
Yeah.
You understand? So to your right, to your point. I mean, one day always crazy taking me back to Lincoln University, man. We had an elective, Intro to Religion. That was probably one of the most impactful classes I've ever taken in my life. And in this class, you learned about Hinduism, Islam, Buddhism, and Christianity.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You spent a significant amount of time on each subject. And it's crazy. I remember just learning about Buddhism. So as they were going through Buddhism, I'm like, wow, this is me.
Right.
You know what I mean? These are some of my thoughts.
Right.
Because I always tell that when you grow up, my mother was a Christian, so I say I'm Christian by default.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because that's all I was exposed to.
How many of us do that?
Yeah, so when I'm sitting there going through Buddhism, I gravitated towards that. And I was like, wow, man, this is deep.
Right.
You understand? And I thought when I left Lincoln that I was going to start practicing Buddhism.
Right.
You understand? But that's how deep that spirit is. You know what I mean? Because whoever the writer was and how profoundly he explained Buddhism, I tapped into the spirit of that.
To the spirit.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And I was relating to that spirit at that time because we all at different places and different stages in our lives.
Right.
But at that time, whatever I was going through 20 plus years ago, I felt that spirit of Buddha.
Right.
You understand? So started reading some things when I left Lincoln, but who am I to disagree? Now I practice my religion. Who am I to tell this person who's practicing Buddhism, you can't tell me nothing, or we can't sit down and build and cipher and help each other out.
That's powerful, man. That power of the spirit. There's this man. He's a spiritual teacher. I think I don't want to say he's an Indian. I'm not sure what his ethnicity is, but he's not black, white. But again, I'm not sure what he is. But I think his name is Ishwar Puri, and he's a very intelligent spirit man. He talks a lot about the spiritual aspect of things. And as I hear you talking about the whole spiritual element, we always talk about the blood of Jesus, right? The blood of Jesus. Well, one of the things that I like to say whenever we talk about how why you don't like him or you don't like her, like that's family. But look, family's more than a blood connection to me. Family is a spiritual connection to me more than a blood connection.
Speak on it.
You know what I'm saying? Because really, the physical, our body is just a piece of meat. Like we're a spirit first.
Like man, you connected.
Exactly.
Spirit.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when I first met you over on the Highland Avenue, man. As a matter of fact, the second time I met you was on Highland Avenue, and all I can remember is just seeing the 6'3". It was your energy. It was your spirit. Like we just connected, almost immediately.
Right.
We ain't blood, but we can feel like we are.
Right. And I didn't even ask you what religion did you belong to.
Yeah, right.
I don't think we had that conversation, did we?
Hey, brother, what religion?
Before we go any further, excuse me, Shawn, brother, what do you practice? Because we don't need to go any further.
And you waiting like he's been.
I swear for me. You know what I mean? As soon as you say, you know what I mean? No need for us to go any further. You understand? Forget the spirit, forget the energy that we was giving off on each other. That's how deep it is.
Wow. Oh man. Lastly, there's some other things that we want to talk about too. But when you talk about how there's more ways to get to heaven than one of the things I talk about with kids, you know what I'm saying? Like when I talk about success, but you could also equate this to heaven. I say, hey young man, how many friends you got here? They say, I got like 10 or 20 friends. I said, do y'all all live in the same community? They say, nah, I live in Homewood, he live in Garfield, he live in Highland Park, he live in the East End. I said, but y'all all come to the same school every day. He said, yeah. I said, that's how success works. That's how getting to heaven works. Y'all all start somewhere else and take different ways to get to the same place. Y'all all come to the same school, but you take different ways.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow. Wow. And I'm reading as we talk about Rick Warren's book, and he was talking about true fellowship.
Okay.
You understand? Like, you know, when you building like a fellowship, you know, because eventually I want us to get to building a fellowship group.
Okay.
But he mentioned to that point that you meet people where they at.
Exactly.
You understand? You don't know which way they came to get here. To your point, and we all travel different paths.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You get to the point to where you can start speaking on this person's path.
Right.
You're wrong and you're not righteous. You know, God is righteous.
Right.
You understand? You know what I mean? When you think about the disciples, these were criminals and crooks.
Exactly.
That was traveling along with the Messiah.
Exactly.
These wasn't so-called know-it-alls.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
God went outside the community, got the murderers, or you know, the
sociopaths.
yeah, all that. And say, you know what? I know where you come from.
Yeah.
But we all going on that same road. We easing down the yellow road like we're going to Wizard of Oz. We're on this road together.
Right.
And sometimes we forget about that when we start getting too religious. We forget the path that we took to get to where we at.
Ooh, yes.
And where a person is coming from.
That's so
and
true.
We all, you know, I remember a famous quote from one of the lines Common, Love Brother Common, the rapper. But his father said on one of the skits, he said we all arrive, but at different times. So because I arrived here, you should arrive.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Like you don't know where I come from.
Right.
But you telling me how I should get to where God has destined me to be.
Oh, exactly, man. Oh my God. How does that, you know, you always talk about value systems. You know what I'm saying? And I think that value systems has a place in what you're saying right now. So, you know, what would you say is the place that value systems play in spirituality versus religion?
Now, wow. I think that they both play equal parts. I'm just thinking about the value system. And my mom, you know, my brother's much older than me, and where my mom was at, you know, when they were coming up and were, you know, when I came up, like I said, I had to go to the church. But I'm thinking that, you know, a lot of my values came from the church.
Okay.
You know, came from my mom, where she was at. So I think it plays a hell of a vital role on the value system.
Religion?
Both.
Both? Okay.
Because I think that, you know, when you think about, you know, religion is now, or spirituality is taken out of the school. You know, now we're not allowed to, you know, they separate the church and the state. When you look at the value system of our children.
Wow, I never even thought about that.
Yes, sir.
I never even thought about that. That's so true.
When we talk about it, people always say that when you took, you know, when you separate it to, you know what I mean, because everything is political, when you took the church out of that, or prayer out of school, look at the value system of our kids and of the youth. What do we value? So I do believe that it does play a significant role on our value system.
That's a good point. I didn't, you know, I have thought about that, but not as intricately as you explained it. But now it causes me to ask a second question. Even if you take a religion or spirituality out of school, is that any reason for it to be taken out of the home?
Not at all. Not at all.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's no reason for it. So if you got it at home, so even though I understand how taking it out of school could be somewhat of a problem, but if it's in the home, there shouldn't be that much of a change in school or in the community or in the world.
I got a good relationship with my aunt. So, you know, my aunt is, to me, like the realest person.
Won't be here too, man.
And one of the most honest people I know in my life. Like, you know, hopefully she's on the call tonight. I love you, auntie. But I remember she was talking about, you know, my aunt is a different type of person. That's for another conversation. But she was in Pittsburgh a couple months ago. We were just getting a chance to build with her, and she was talking about as a kid how you know, she knew when she would go to the babysitter or go to after school program, she knew different verses, and you know, they had to study the Bible. And I'm thinking about nowadays, you know, even when you left, you had some type of you know, value system instilled in you, because you know, churches, you know, religion, I think, no matter what you are, teaches you values.
Right.
Because I think that the
True.
core of all religions is being a good person and love your brother. You understand? The core, no matter what you practice, that's a value system. Because if you love your brother and if you love yourself, you want to do the things that you do. So, you know, fast forward to 2015, you know, now the church is not even in schools or prayer night in the schools. Prayer is not even at home.
Right.
You understand? And you know, we have a generation, my generation, that's growing up that left the church. And if we left the church, how is our kids, you know, learning about these values and some of the things that were instilled with us if we're not being presented? And nowadays, we're so adamant against these values of our parents and our forefathers that we forgetting that that's impacting the value system of our kids. Now we placing values on material.
On material stuff.
Yes. Yes.
You know what? I think there's an adverse to that. So here's some of, like, on that point, I agree with it, but I disagree in a way because I don't think that that's any excuse for someone not to have a set of or have morality. Because I wasn't raised in the church. I mean, we went to church sometimes, but you know, my mom, she wanted me to go to church, and she would force me sometimes, but it really wasn't like she wasn't necessarily going herself consistently. And my dad, you know what I'm saying, like he wouldn't necessarily make me go, but there was so much love and character in the home that, you know, I don't want to say it made up for religion, but it increased our character and morality. You know what I mean? And we always had a respect for God. Always, all the time. So even if you ain't going to church, is what I'm saying. If you're if you're a family that don't go to church, that's no excuse that your family shouldn't have some decent level of respect for God, for life, for existence. Because you always ask me, like, you know, like, did your dad kiss you and stuff as a kid? Like, you know what I mean? Because you always see me kissing my wife, my sisters. I'm just a very affectionate man. But that was what's in the home. Love, tenderness, care. You know what I mean? With a couple butt whoopings too.
Some gumbo.
Yeah, little gumbo butt whoopings, man.
But no, that's a good point because I want to ask you that, you know, you didn't go to church, right?
No,
so what was the spirituality of your parents?
My mom, it was interesting because I always thought that my mom was a very interesting person because, you know, I think, like you said, Christianity is our no disrespect, but sometimes that's our default. So I think that we just default that way. Like if you meet somebody black, like, oh, you got to be a Christian. But my mom would always talk about how like she wanted to be a Buddhist. You know what I mean? But my mom was always a spiritual person. And my dad, I can't even answer. I don't know. I mean, my dad believes in God, but I didn't never really see my dad opening up the Bible and reading verses and things like that. But he always talked highly of what God wants from us.
So now coming back to what I believed earlier, that God, you know, that relationship you have with God is His Spirit.
Right. Exactly. Right.
So we talk about that all the time. I remember, crazy man, when we speak about that spirituality and religion. There used to be, you know, my mother getting up there in age, man. There used to be this brother in that it was a street guy had a substance abuse issue, and this brother, I mean, whenever he used to see my mom, man, this brother used to offer to take her groceries when I wasn't around, take her groceries up to the steps. You know, hey, Darnell, you need me to go on your mom and take out her trash. You know what I mean? Because I was living out of town. You know, and I would come back and forth from town. My mom didn't even know this dude's name, but he used to always, you know, he always spoke when he seen her. You understand? Do whatever. Never asked for $1. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, when he did things, he never asked for $1. He may ask me for some money on the side, but he never did that to do something. He just had a good spirit. Right. I ain't gonna mention his name, but this was my man. Right. You know what I mean? A straight, you know, he had substance abuse issues, but his spirit was, you know, his spirit was so good where I felt obligated to give him $1 whenever he asked for it because he had such a good spirit.
Great spirit.
But the average person, he didn't go to church.
Yeah.
You understand? I don't know whether he was raised in the church, but this guy's spirit was affectionate. You know what I mean? And then, you know, no disrespect to my brethren, you know, my Christian brethren, you know, there's situations where you know people in the church and their spirit ain't right. You know what I mean? When you're around them after church, you know what I mean? He was just right next to me praising. And then we leave out. I wish you did. I say have a good day. You roll your eyes at me or you don't even acknowledge me. As soon as we leave service on Sunday. You know what I mean? And you also around this person and you know their spirit is not good. You understand? But we belong to the same, you know, religion. You know, we're Christians. But you know, that's when we talk about that spirituality versus religion. You know, I'm a big opponent on somebody's spirit. You understand? And half half of my friends, you understand, don't go to, well, they had to go to church with me and my mom in Sunday school, but now as they're adults, they don't necessarily go. I go every Sunday, they don't necessarily go as much as I go, but their spirit is incredible. You know what I mean? That's a good question.
I love people like that, man.
Yeah, man.
I love people like that.
And the problem, I need to talk to them. What do they consider themselves? That's interesting because the one guy's, his woman was a Jehovah's Witness. I know he wasn't Jehovah's Witness, but you know, this is my man. But his spirit, man, he has a heart of a lion. He would give you the shirt off his back. You understand? So he had a great spirit.
Right.
You understand? And to me, I tap into a person's spirit before I even ask you. Because I question about what's your religion.
Right.
And, you know, I ran a little small business, my little food stand, for quite a few times, man. And the amazing thing, I used to meet these Muslim brothers. One was from Saudi Arabia, the other one was from Africa, another one was from Turkey. It was crazy. But anyway, it was all from different colors. So they used to come over to my food stand because they eat beef or whatever. I don't sold beef. And one of the things I used to look at, I remember Brother Malcolm, when he said he traveled over to Mecca, it was all people coming from different colors. You know what I mean? To come over, but these brothers' spirit, man, they never. I mean, we used to build on whatever. You know what I mean? These guys never asked me, you know what I mean, or told me or had any problem, or even asked me what my religious beliefs were. It was just like, you know, the energy that I used to give these brothers. I mean, these brothers would come. I used to spend money with me every Friday and Saturday just off my spirit. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, they used to hang around for like a half an hour, just shooting a breeze. But there wasn't no, brother, what's your religious background? Understand? It was just like, you know, you just got a good spirit, you know, because they was, you know, I seen them get into some altercations with some people because you know people's negative spirit. But the point is that these brothers had good spirit. Never asked me what was my religious beliefs. It was just we connected spiritually.
You ain't never heard nobody go, man. So you always hear like, man, you got a great spirit. Like conversation.
Yeah, you know.
They don't say like, hey, man, you got a great religion.
That's a good point, man.
Hey, man, you got a great religion. You know what I mean? And again, no disrespect to religion.
No, sir.
But you know, I truly believe that spirituality precedes.
You might have me, wow, you got me thinking that because, you know, again, coming back to spirituality, you know, you tap into, you know, that's when you tap into your relationship when ain't nobody around. You know what I mean, the spirituality is something that stays with you 24/7 after you leave your place of prayer or wherever. The spirituality goes with you, you know, and that's what God, you know, I think that my God expects me to carry on when I'm out in the community, you know, making sure that I'm carrying His spirit. You know, when people see me, they should see His spirit.
Right, exactly. You know what I mean? You know, being Christ-like.
Being Christ-like.
You don't have to. You being Christ-like. Like, I want to be. I'm not a. You know, I wouldn't call myself a Christian. I wouldn't call myself anything. I call myself spiritual. But when I read the Bible, yes, I desire to be Christ-like because I identify with the character and the qualities of Christ. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Or the same thing, whoever it is, you know what I mean, in other deities. Because it's really, you know, it's the same. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You had talked about, and I'm not sure. You know, you'll take us into questions, but you had talked about how people in the service is one way and they out, and they another way out the service, right? And a lot of times, man, you know, we want to be holy. You know, we think we holy, but we got demonic tendencies. You know what I mean? We holy, you know, we want to be holy, but we got demonic tendencies. And when I say that, I mean we smile, we praise God in the church, we do everything on the exterior that makes it look like we're the holiest beings. But if it come to money, guess what? We'll do some demonic things. If it come to this is mine and I ain't who are you to take this from me, we do some demonic things. For the good and bad, because I think that also we look at the archangels. Sometimes, you know, I don't believe that all of God's soldiers, you know, they're just like these happy people out here just floating through the heavens. You know what I mean? Just trying to combat murder and all this with great words. You gotta have sometimes like you gotta have demonic tendencies for the good, for the greater good. You know what I mean? Like you said, you saw your lands and them out there who got into some altercations. Maybe they didn't want to, but sometimes like demonic things have to happen from good character people for the greater good. You know what I mean?
And one thing about, you know, these cats, when you hear about these Muslim cats, you know, I think, you know, we had some heroic American come by and was was talking bad about their religion.
Okay.
I mean, calling them Taliban or terrorists. And they dated that situation.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you know, their demonic spirit came out.
Right.
You understand? But them dudes,
not demonic spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Demonic. It was maybe a tendency.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Or capability.
A capability.
Right.
From a good person.
From a good person. Right.
Oh, again, we got to. We're gonna take a few questions. Question from Sister J in Baltimore says, Robert Nestle Marley said, if you know your self-worth, you'll live for years here on earth. What are your thoughts on that lyric, and how can we move from passive spirituality to active spirituality for change? Wow, especially African American community.
That's a great. Read that one again.
Right, that's Bob. Big up to Bob. That was my Rasta, Robert Nestle Morris said, if you know your self-worth, you'll live. I'm sorry.
If you know your self-worth.
If you know your self-worth, you'll live for yours here on earth.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about the lyric and how we can move from a passive spirituality to an active spirituality for change? Now you see the light. What to say? Stand up for your right. You understand? Get up, stand up. But real talk, because we are very passive. You know, sometimes we as religious folks, we march and we praise, but God says, you know, go out and get yours. Get yours while you're here on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So, you know, two Sister J's that Bob, that Ross and Bob, we do have a passive way, a passive spirituality. We think that, some of the, and that's my thing with the biggest thing about our community is that we pray, we pray for things, but we don't necessarily take as much action as God entitles us to take.
Right.
You understand? So to Sister J's point, that we need active spirituality, act upon that.
Right.
You say that, and sometimes, there's a hypocrisy where we talk about people with money or people pursuing success or whatever. You're being ungodly, or that's not sometimes religious folks saying that you're worshiping a false prophet is in the form of a dollar versus worshiping God because you have this passive this passive spirit. So why can't we live? And God wants us. God didn't put all these things on earth for us not to obtain them.
Right.
Exactly. Now, for the love of that, when you forget about your God, that's when it's an issue. But
great point.
Can't be passive. We need to be a little bit more active. In the situation nowadays, when we still, what's going on today in our community, we're praying. You understand? More than taking action. You understand? Our young men are dying, every day out here, or almost every week, to the hands of the law enforcement. We're still marching and praying instead of taking a more active role, because God tells us that He got us.
Right.
You understand? But as long as you stay passive, we will continue to be in this situation. Great point.
Great one.
Yeah, sister. Yeah, I know you guys. We were talking about that always. That was a good one. Yeah, man. We need to be more active, especially for change in our community.
I would like to address that excellent question and to say, you really sometimes we want to believe that we believe in God. Sometimes we want to believe that we believe in God. Sometimes it's hard to believe in God because you don't believe in yourself. You know what I'm saying? So when she talks about self-worth, and when she talks about how self-worth can equate to, can you pull it up again? Because I don't want to misquote anybody. You talk about how self-worth equates to getting yours here on earth. Self-worth is so big because it gives you identity. It gives you self-awareness. It gives you a purpose. You know what I mean? And I think that part of the reason why when she brings up African Americans have an issue with that, I don't like bringing up the slavery piece, but this is the power of spirituality. Our spirit, you know what I'm saying, they had to beat the spirit out of the slave. And over time, I think that, we still living in a response to slavery. So even though we want to overcome, we want to do all these things, there's all of these variables like, I want to believe in God, but I don't even trust myself. And sometimes we passively put our anxiety on a weak belief in God. You see what I'm saying?
I should have brought my books. I got my books upstairs, but now you split it because some powerful things. Like, yeah, we do.
Yeah.
And back to my and I'm not promoting my Muslim brethren, where them dudes is about their God.
They all. That's why I love. That's why I love the Muslim brothers.
Them dudes.
That's why I love them Muslim
will do what they need to do. Disrespect their God.
Exactly.
They gonna do what they do.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you gotta respect them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even though that's not your religion, you gotta respect.
You have to
respect them. You know, respect their spirit. And to your point, we ain't really about it as much as we say because we put limitations on God. I put that on.
Yeah.
You know, the book I was just finished writing. I'm like, you know, even talking to them, I'm thinking that who am I to write a book? Again, I put limitations on what God has instilled in me to go ahead and do.
Say it, bro.
You understand?
Oh
so as I'm writing, I'm like, God, you funny, man. you amazing, dude. You know what I mean? So when you got faith in God,
right.
Come on, man, you can take over the world.
Oh my
you understand?
gosh.
I mean, but to your point, we have superficial faith.
Right.
I'm sorry,
No,
I'm not passing. I'm not
that's
passing
what it is.
somebody, but when you have this belief in, you know, this unwavering belief in your spirit and your God that God has destined you to get somewhere.
Yeah.
You take arms, you bear arms. You're gonna go through some things though.
You're going to.
You can go through some things because that initial step, what we want to do, then God put a little obstacle, a little roadblock. It wasn't meant for me. Like, nah, you can go through some things, but if you know that, if you have that much faith in your God that you serve, and it's in your spirit, you're gonna move mountains. You know, the Bible is full of stories of the things God do, from God, Moses opening up and parting the Red Sea.
Right.
You understand? To all the heroic stories, and those are all come from somebody's belief in God.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? From David taking on the Goliath.
I like how you did that.
You know what I mean? Because he prayed before he even took on the Goliath.
Yeah.
You understand? With a rock. That was AK. You know what I mean? With some spears. You know what I mean? Dude came out with a rock and a slingshot. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Come on, dude. Like this dude, like David. You know, Job, where he lost every goddamn thing, man.
Oh my God.
That's one of my favorite stories in the Bible. But this dude lost everything and said, you know what? God, I know you're going to get it back from me, man. But to your point, a lot of us don't have that belief. But we pray. You know what I mean? We show up for Sunday, you know, so many times, but it's not in our spirit.
It's not in our spirit.
We practice, and to your point, we practice these things, but it's not in our spirit. We can go to a few more questions. We got young brother Damari says, do you think public schools should offer optional religion classes for those who would like to take them? I think it should. However, you know, fortunately, laws have begun. You know, they wanted to separate, you know, religion from state. You know what I mean? There was two conflicting things, and like I said earlier, when you do that, you have chaos. But like you said, I like the word optional because I think if your parents sign off on it and it's something that you believe, why wouldn't it be offered?
I think, but here's the other piece of that. It don't matter if the school offered it or not.
You should offer it at home.
Yeah, offered at home, and there's libraries. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can separate church from the state. You can not ever separate my spirituality from me. You know what I'm saying? Because really, most of the learning that you're doing, like, is outside of the classroom.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, I think it's a great question, and you would love to see. I would love to see all religions in some way, shape. I would love to see different mental health classes in school. But that shouldn't stop you, young man, from learning it on your own, teaching yourself.
And half the time, even and speaking on that, man, speaking on that, when I'm in church, you understand, and the pastor is speaking on a verse, that's his version.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean, that's his interpretation.
Exactly.
You understand? But one thing I love about my pastor, he always said, you know, you got to do your own studying as well.
Exactly.
So to your point, it don't start in the classroom or whatever. It also starts in your private time where you need to tap in because, again, there are 7 billion people in the world. Right. 7 billion. Big up. You know what I mean? Mom, much 7 billion people, son. You know what I mean? Sire. So how can we all interpret the same verse the same?
The same way.
You understand? Yeah. So it's up to you to, you know, go ahead and find out what your God is speaking through you. Question from Sister Michelle from Ohio says, why is it so hard to get my husband to go to church with me? I'm glad you mentioned that, Michelle. I had some points that I wanted to talk about that I wrote down yesterday or this morning, talking about the issues that brothers have with going to church. And since we're good brothers, you know, conversations with good brothers, you know, these are some of the many conversations I have. But one of the things that you know, a lot of brothers talk about, and I'm not in your situation, Michelle, that a lot of times men have, you know, issues with the church, and I'm gonna just throw a few out there, and me and Shawn did discuss them, but I'm welcome to any one of you all to email in on some things that you may have on it. But you know, a lot of brothers, you know, in the community I live in, when they see the community not improving, when you see all these churches in the communities, you understand? So, you know, when you think about the civil rights movement and all the movements through the through the history of the community, whether to get us through slavery, you know, the church or our spirituality had, you know, a lot for us, a lot to do with us getting through these low points in our life. But here it is, 2000 and 2015, over the last when the mega churches start building up and so forth, you haven't seen the community grow in the same fashion as all these mega churches popping up. And sometimes men have an issue with that. You know, at least a lot of guys, you know, the sad conversations I have with guys like, how do our communities look the way we look? And we got all these churches there. Isn't the church's responsibility to take care, you know, of the community or to serve the community? And I think about that even with mental health. You know what I mean? A lot of times you was getting your mental health services from the church. You know what I mean? Where you was, you know, churches made themselves available, or people who had certain skills, you know, the elders, they would help counsel the young people or counsel people who are having these issues. Nowadays, these services are being provided by community organizations. Last time I checked, the best or the greatest institutional organization in the community is the church. You understand? So a lot of times, brothers have have some issues in that area that these are brothers out in the community doing work. They might not be the religious brothers. You understand? Some people might have fault with some of these brothers' characters. However, they out there doing community work. So they have some issues with what's going on in the community. And another thing that we talked about that brothers have issues with, and my mother schooled me on this, is tithing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Monetary aspect.
Monetary aspect.
That's So it's a big one.
Yeah, it's a huge one.
I gotta come out my pockets.
Yeah.
Y'all want some of my money?
Yeah.
I'll get you next Sunday.
Yeah.
I'll come next Sunday.
Yeah. And I think my pastor talked about, I guess it's 3,500 to 4,000 members at my church, and I think less than 500 tithe.
Wow. I'm not surprised though.
No, I'm not surprised.
It's unfortunate, but I'm not surprised.
Right. Yeah. But again, when it comes to tithing, I love you, but even with business, when it comes to money, give me some of your money. That's that's when you really tap into where a person is at.
Right.
And unfortunately, again, brothers have issues with that. And that's one of the things that my mom told me, that you give 10% and let whatever happens from that. That's just God's way of really seeing where your head is at. You know what I mean? Because he knows that man is really serious about that daggone money. But God says, if you can give me 10%, then you do have some faith. Don't mean that you have any faith because you're not tithing. Right. But when somebody, somebody hold on to their money, bro, sometimes you know where their head is at. So God don't want us to really praise or put anything on the plateau as Him. And sometimes we put our money on the same plateau as God, and that's a false idol. And they say God is a jealous God, but sometimes we and even in society we idolize people with money.
Right.
Whether they're entertainers or what have you, so-called successful businessmen, we idolize them, and that money thing causes a lot of men to stray away from
the church.
The church, yeah.
One of the things, if you don't mind me, is you sparking my mind right now, man. And when you brought up the money aspect, going to the question again, how to get my husband to go to church, I think, that money piece goes to trust. Because I remember I had a conversation with you one time.
Yes, sir. Speak on it.
I had a conversation with you one time, maybe 3.5, 4 years ago, and you had said something like, one of the reasons why, especially our people as men, we can't do business because I don't trust you. I don't trust you. You know what I'm saying? I don't trust what you might do with my money or my time or X, Y, and Z. Like we don't. And again, that goes back to, I don't like bringing up the slavery piece, but we was pit against one another. Yes. And that's the spirituality piece. We still haunted and daunted by the spirit of stuff that happened 400 years ago. You know what I'm saying? 200, 340 years ago.
50.
Right.
Some of it just got free. Yeah,
Right. Right.
I'm sorry.
But also, and we got to get over that. You know what I'm saying? You got to take a step on faith, but you also have to take a step out on love of your brother. You know what I'm saying? Because my next part is that I think that there's a population of men who don't go to church because it's an ego thing. We don't like listening to another man. You know what I'm saying? When you see that man up there,
he's shining more than
he's shining more than me.
Right.
That's
you know what I'm saying? I wasn't even thinking. I ain't even had that, son. Build on that a little bit.
But that's what you caused me to think. You know what I'm saying? He got. You know, T.D. Jakes said, do you really want a T.D. Jakes as a husband? You really want somebody who got 86,000 women screaming every weekend at church, and we hating on one another. But I bet you, if the preacher was built like Nicki Minaj, men would be at church every weekend and tithing. And tithing.
I was just having Brother Dave. I was just talking about that. How he was saying how he asked a young buck, you know, why wasn't he going to church? And Brother Dave made that same point that I guarantee if a little young shorty you like was there, you would be there.
That's why I went to church at 17. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I used to get suited up. I didn't know what the sermon was gonna be. Me and my boys would go out Saturday night, like, yo, we gotta get home. Like, wow, we got church tomorrow. We gonna see the same girls out here at the club.
Real talk.
At church the next morning. I'm out there fly, bro. Fly. I don't know what's going on, but you know what I'm saying? They see us, baby. Hey, after the sermon, we meet in front of the church. Yeah.
No, sure he asked you, like, what was your sermon on? You drew a blank, huh? Right. The ducks hat on, huh? That ain't what I'm here for. You know what I mean? Right. But it's some real, no, there's truth in everything that goes on.
Right.
You know what I mean? You see the same thing, like cats post, I'm going to, certain churches, they call them clubs, but, you know, there's a humor and real talk in that. But that's you know, I want to build back a little bit when you're saying, wow, we're challenged by that.
Yeah.
Now, because I think that we do have like a negative hater gene in us sometimes. And when this brother, like you said, his pastors get more shine than us, we don't want to support him.
Right.
That's what that trust is.
So that trust is.
Right. That's I wasn't expecting that, man. I wasn't thinking about. And then another thing we talked about, we alluded to that a little bit earlier when we talking about that. You hear brothers say that they got to get themselves together. Because for some reason, you know, there's a lot of times when certain pastors, and I love my pastor, man, that, you know, he's to me an incredible person, a man of character, but, you know, he always talks about we all have faults, you know what I mean? So, but sometimes men think that they can't come to church because they ain't where they think they need to be.
You know
what I mean? And we're coming back to the Messiah. The Messiah got the most rotten, crookedest people of his time to say, follow me. So he's showing brothers that you don't have to come or you don't have to be this so-called or appear to be this righteous person because we're all broken. You know, and that's some of the things that we talked about that we want to start having these workshops for men. To come and just share their brokenness because we all broken in some way or some fashion. But that's where God say, bro, I want you broken. You know what I mean? Because I want you to give me the glory when you get to your righteous destiny. You know what I mean? Like I want you to say, and if it wasn't for my Creator, my God, I wouldn't be here. So no, He don't want you to be straight because then you think it's all about you. And you that dude. You understand?
And see, I'm so happy that you brought that up because that was the point I wanted to make because I believe that God loves the streets. God loves people from the street. Like God loves everybody, but like you said earlier, God always was picking hookers, pimps, murderers,
taxers.
And I remember I listened to one of Pastor Curtis's audio sermons, and he was using the story of Saul, and he built it up so beautiful. You know what I'm saying? He was going through the towns, killing everybody. You know what I'm saying? All the men, women, and everything. But he said, look, how could you be so selfish to believe that you could do something so bad that even God can't forgive you? I said, wow. Because there's so many kids I talked to who believe like, man, I didn't did this, like, I did this one better. I can't be forgiven. Like, you really believe you're that special and you're that selfish to where you did something so bad that even God can't forgive you.
That's crazy.
What?
That's how bad that dude God is, man. Like, yeah. Like, and that's coming back to telling that young brother who emailed us earlier. That's why you got to go and get your own information.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the Bible is full of these stories. I'm not too very well conversant in the Torah and the Quran and other other books, but I'm pretty sure these books have similar stories of success stories.
Right.
You know what I mean? How God has changed men, and He's still changing 2015, still changing us. You understand? But we have to come first. You understand? To your point, we got to get our spirit in order first.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Get your spirit in order first before you go to join a particular a religious sect. Get your spirit together first. Now, I totally agree with you on that point. That prelude. That comes before, you know, joining a religion like this spirit guy, because wherever you come, there's some people with some foul spirits, you know, been in the church for years, or been up in the, you know, in these religious sects for years, but their spirit is not good. So, you know, first, you know, to your point, work on getting your spirit in order first, man.
Can I make a point? I know we only got a couple minutes left, but this is the power of that spirit, right? If you have a foul spirit, you know what I'm saying, I don't say, because you said foul spirit. If you are aware, if you're acknowledging that your spirit is you know, maybe not where you want it to be, get around somebody who has a great spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can call us for coaching. We not only do this on the talk show, but we have clientele where we do this on a daily basis.
Yes, sir.
And I've noticed that even I picked up on some of the things that you do. Even the word incredible. When people say, "How you feel, Shawn?" I'm incredible. I got that from you. You know what I'm saying? So get around people who have a great spirit.
Man, speak hard. You great. And also on the flip side, if you got something up in you, get around from a person in good spirit, you'll run from them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Both ways. Even if you're around somebody with a negative spirit, like when I go to certain places, man, you know, certain places I call it my spirit, since I ain't nothing but my spirit.
Right.
I know I'm not supposed to be here.
Exactly.
You understand? Or you're around a person, you know, particular mate, whatever. You know, you tap into that person's spirit first before you say, "I'll ask you what religious sect you belong to." You know, you sit around, you vibe with them, their spirit will jump out on you before you even get to religious. I love that point that you made. I love that point. And your spirit, sometimes, you know, that's how we connect. Sometimes people's spirit is so negative that you want to get away from it. But, you know, to your point, if you want to improve your spirit, hang around positive and good spirited people.
Exactly.
You know, here is a couple minutes left, man. Wow, once again, I don't, you know, not to pump us up, man. This was a great show.
Great show.
This is a great show,
bro.
Real talk,
great
man.
show.
We done had some great ones. And I'm not, you know, I'm not being confident. I'm not being conceited, but you know, I really think this is some food for thought for myself.
Yes, sir.
And I'm hoping some food for thought for you out there. As always, you know, thank you all for dialing in.
Let's. I think we should wait for that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I know that I just want to have one final thought.
Sure.
Just I thank you as well, and I just want to say, because we're on this topic, and this is my final word. Believe in God. Don't believe in God when you need to, but believe in God because you need to.
Yeah, not when, because we always want what we want.
Right.
But you know, my mom always say, don't get too high when you get high, don't get too low when you low.
Exactly.
You know, God is even good. God loves you when you have nothing and when you have millions. But sometimes we have the tendency to forget who God is once we get to the top. You know what I'm saying? And God will humble you. I speak from experience. He will humble you. And then my pastor, we leave on this. My pastor always said there are two types of people. There are people who are, you know, humble. There's people who soon to be humbled by God.
I like that.
I like soon to be humbled by God.
I'm taking that one.
Pastor B, big up on that.
Big up on that. Hey. Well, look. You know, I appreciate you, Darnell. Appreciate you. You know, that was my final thoughts. Please, you see the books here. These are some of the books that I've written. Darnell has a great book coming. I'm not sure if you chose a title for it yet, but I got a chance to read one of the first drafts. And man, that's genuine. I'm loving your first book, man.
I'm looking forward. Still, it's in the final stages, man. I'm looking forward to joining up here and putting it in our library. Again, reach out to Shawn and Darnell for coaching services. See you all next Tuesday, or talk to you all next Tuesday. Having an incredible week. Give thanks
and expand your perspective. Peace.